Now, coming in at number 5, we have Economist Exclusive.
More divine and national. MHTA, Moorish Holy Temple of Science. MSTA, Moorish Science Temple of America. Myself, Uplift the Great. Lower Self Affiliates. Guilty. Production. Son of War Militia. You already know it. Anonymous in the building. I'm not a savior. Yes, I can't save you. Most likely 1, 2, and slave you. I'm from the cradle to the grave. What? Indoctrination's what they gave us. Made us, played us, but we played ourselves. Made ourselves who we are. Stars. See the caption, it's close for far. Step out the frame and see the real picture. No one else to pay. Don't get out before they get you. Bet your bottom dollar. The bottom line. Don't let anybody holler. Holler. If you hear me, I'm a war. Please don't fear me. I'm just trying to express things clearly. Every 7-minute hour day. Monthly, barely make it above par. Prepare, get ready for the onslaught.
Yeah, dog. That was live. Yo, more fire. Drop the next one.
Alright, I'm gonna drop some old school shit. This some 98 shit. This off the Crime Connect album. Serious. I already know what it is. Anonymous in the building. Yo. So now the times are getting shorter, days are getting colder, and gradually we're physically getting older. So now it's time to strengthen up your mind, wise up mentally, rise to the full capacity. The future likes to reach the point of eternity. Collaborate with true brethren that you just evaluate the situation. Be patient and don't rush. The plan here escape before it's too late. That's a must. Rid of all the vanity. Wash away the lust, infatuation with material. That shit's got to get flushed. I guarantee you got a life is a return back to dust. So live just, cause in these times of deception where they placed us, so now we have tribulations daily facing us to keep the money and the system running. They get to use cunning, and if you ain't on your guard, things can be stunning. See, they're very cunning, but can't manipulate the meek. So just sent and chose I and I to guide the weak and teach, so they can read the highest peak of the mountain called Zion. I take heed to the awakening of the lion, and though he's humble, he walks fast on the concrete of the jungle. And food scarce everywhere, so there's a constant rumble. But now we pierce the Babylon to everything that crumble, and they're scared of our origin, so behind their back they try to mumble. Yo, and they know where we're from, they know where the foundation, but neglect all the facts, don't want to send us back home. Don't take that demands, they devise their own plans, prepare for disaster, replicate and make clones. But the truth shall be shown, that's why I hold this microphone to make it known, to get to use that they no longer have to run. Never let them go.
And now, coming in at number 4, my good sister Roots K with Truth Stand Up.
Roots. Give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Give me what you want. Give me what you want. Fruits break through your inquisitions. Moorish I am to the last breath of me. I'm never worried cause my prince hold the legacy. For life status I'll forever be. Paint a perfect picture, frame the MSTA. For the works uplifting humanity I pray and you say sin. Save from the blasphemy. Man dying on the cross, you brave be asking me. Sign on the dotted line to upkeep your fallacy. We coming with the eyes wide open. Listen to the message Drew Ali told them. The vanguard coming through the folding. Stand strong army, consume your positions. We're coming for the kill, my Lord Inquisitions. Cause it's boom, bye-bye in the white head. I said it's no remorse cause I'm planned after dead. Straight shots blasting, active, not passive. Breaking bread with the loyal till blood shed on the soil. I'm asking, who's not ready for the war? Knocking at your front door. See me, give me what you want with your definitions. Rules break through your inquisitions. See me, give me what you want. See me, give me what you want. Building up a nation, no hesitation. Claiming our stance, moving out the plantations. My foot plant, northwest in the Maxim. Raw when I chant, revamp T-Rexum. Heart in the middle, chakra, balance. Hard more metal, iron on the mat. Fall back, don't giggle. You might miss the point, red dot in the middle. Don't cry me a river. Jew Ali is the giver of salvation. Learn your books, don't quiver. Head sight up, knowledge, birthright bigger. Bigger than you thought, huh? Remember the ancestors who fought. Remember Haiti River. Remember the one still caught in the Willie Lynch syndrome. Claiming our dome from our home is the temple. Enlightenment, entitlement, Aquarian info. They think that I've been broke. I'm food for their market. Reincarnation. The Jews never lost it. I lost it. Time for reveal. Circle seven seal. Simply give me what you want with your definitions. Who's break through your inquisitions? Simply give me what you want with your definitions. Who's break through your inquisitions? Yo, who thinks I tried to tell me right, spit left back? This them I tried this, I tell me if we accept that. Who give the loans, huh? Who own the land, yo? Who take the throne, man? Put it in the hands of these weak mind men. Measurement to mass awareness. Take a Euro man faces God. They go to frame it, they play with the amen. Lock up this setback, these blocks on a racetrack. Who trying to take back right sounds with the mic and the spotlight? Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice be the insight. Trying to take flight, but the vultures trying to get me. Wanna sail up tonight? If you bout it, ride with me. Deserve to see the world, so I'ma take it. Chances for divine transformation, I pay it. Forward for the ones who didn't make it. I'm coming for the take it, take it, take it. Send me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Send me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Send me, give me what you want with your definitions. Roots break through your inquisitions. Send me, give me what you want. Break it through. 1, 2.
Now, coming in at number 3, we have Canaanland Moors. Moorish MCs with Not in Service.
Come on in, brother. Come on in, brother. Bless. Have a seat, brother. Have a seat. Yes. Come on in, brother. Welcome. Bless. Have a seat right there. Hey. Brother, bless. Have a seat, brother. Welcome, bless. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. You guys ready to make some money? Yeah. I can't hear you. Ready to make some money? Yeah. All right, let's get to work. All right, man, you get your birth certificates, man, you get a bunch of money from that, man. You know what I'm saying? You get your bonds, tons of money, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to get flex on this, you want to be good, man. You want to be flossing, get fur coats on, right? You got this over here, right here. Just ignore all that right there. You know, over here, right here. This is what it's all about, man. It's all about the dollar signs. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the money. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the dollar signs. At the end of the day, it's all about the money.
So, SGK, how can I get my money afterwards? I have to pay right to the dinner. I need lots of money.
Hey, this is so foolproof. Can I get an advance? I got some stuff to take care of. Give the money.
Hold up.
If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try try your call again.
2 weeks going on 3, I gave him a G. Said that these papers I could be sovereign and free like Popes and King Henry. Sipping on Henny and pigs' faces, no matter the places. Travel rights, days and nights, cash in bonds on earth search. Didn't tell me that birth is ERTH, bottomry benefits of instruments.
It's all about the money. Trust me, you go with this and you'll get the money. If you don't believe me, ask my senior right here.
Pissed off and break his wrist off. Dirty Moors got me wanna cut lips off and teeth chipped off. Dirty feet using me to go through windows. Probably took my Fiat and bought Indo and Kush. Off the roof I would push. Shove.
Yes, sir.
Justice, no love. My CMC, no reply from emails. He stopped tweeting, but he's giving details. On trust and executive status. Dialing the number, got my fingers callous. Dirty Moor packets selling cheaters. Robbie with no conscience. Cognizant, not sleepers. And well aware, that's more than local. Plus they changed the corporate name and logo.
We're sorry, you have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry, you have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
They still on the Fiat hustle and the bustle. Got cats in the bag like waffles, airtight. Use fair fright, martial law hype. If you want to type. Still no mad but not even. Get wise with the quickness, ability, quickly nimble, won't stumble or tremble. Finding out I got played like symbols. Dirty Moors selling you your own Morris symbols and crystals. No different than trees and reeds and toes missiles. Drew Ali said study, study, study. So you don't get enslaved or played by your own body. Giving money to a gold digging dummy. State hoppers, dirty Moors, rob you out your dirty drawers. Souls perfect in fools' bodies. Setting up a PayPal time. Those types don't even know what's coming. Cause when I see them, it's expose time, no running. No gun, and I was told get wise. Dirty people giving weasel evil eyes. Picking up the cell to call. I get nervous cause I know what's up after I heard this.
We're sorry, you have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again. We're sorry, you have reached the number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again.
You got this show.
Oh, this is yours? This is all yours?
For sure.
Keep going. Jeez. I need to get me some of that right now, man. Yo, SGK, hook me up.
Bro, I got all this the first day. Just saying. Not the first day today, but next day.
And now coming in at number 2, a really, really good one. We have a good one. It go good sister, Roots K with Visionary.
Patch up this life's work with a little more aid in the fight hurt to keep me here a little longer, just a little stronger. Keep me a ponder a dream and praying mother stop burying the babies in the dirt. How life work, no longer mysticised when I lift my eyes. This is how strife hurt. When I'm confined to a mind that only believes in false hope, strained to receive lies down the drain where the soul lurks. Couldn't believe my eyes here searching, broken. How could I deny what you stolen, cheating? Only leaves me peace in the breakdowns mentally. Single mother raised 4, 2 sons, 2 daughters, and a second daughter only meant to be another single mother. She raised 4. And the only princess knew that she gon' add to the score. It's a team effort, right? The cycle repeats. My socio-political economic defeat sweep me right from under my feet. Short days, long nights, cold hungry in the streets. Brothers and sisters from another mister. Still I'm left alone to defend my demons. Still left to own this life from the egg and semen. Make dirty roads clean, right? Friends turn enemies, loved ones memories fade. No pretty picture. Watch the vibration raise on the Richter. I stand motionless, emotionless, desensitize me until emotion. This voice is the underprivileged. Those getting this years after I wrote it. Take back no talk when I fall back to reconnect with the rodents. Back when life was good, oblivious to this axis that balances being to stream full of actors. I only want to wake up feeling in the night I fell asleep in. Make my story seeping from thought processes to the news bulletin. This is more than public outcries, devastation. This is more than the extreme of extremes living in one nation. This is more than the poverty, the fornication by the adulterers who greatly than escaping before I call for help. See, I called your name when I stood by myself in silence. Silence is shouted me, clouded me, strapped trying to get a head strap for the bread. I cried for help, pockets picked and 5-figure discounts to live like I was free. Free like fear never lived here. Till my house burned down, I never kissed fear. Still I drip tears, spare me pity. Don't care for the ones who didn't see me waiting in the jail cell tonight. Chance to a bail in my city where I'm designed to follow, fall, fail. Already getting debt letters in the mail for the bird fly from the nest to set sail. I only wonder where my hoop dreams would have took me before I gave up the bite for the cookie. I wonder how it would be if my mom looked me in my eyes and really taught me how a woman should be. Never abandoned by my dad who was supposed to be the man. Maybe my baby dad would be where he could be. Still I'm here. But I'm still here. Just call me what you want. My vision's clear, so call it what you want, but I feel I'm the perfect example of what a woman should be. Just look me in my eye. Tell me how it would be, could be, should be before I die.
And now, last but not least, coming in number 1, we have Iron Sheik with Hallucinogen.
Sounds like it's having a hallucinogenic effect, not like a drug which is harmful and wrong, and just say no, kids, but safety nonetheless.
Have you ever heard or thought that you saw or felt the pain from third eye to your jaw? Felt skin sore, brain circuit strip sore. Got me seeing strobe lights like a disco. Under skin crawls, seeing one stage shapes out of the norm, demonic form stakes. Forces external, stress is extreme. Eyes wide open, oh it's a dream. It seems sort of like alienation, surrounded by aliens at a police station. Nerd impulses, feeling pulses on noses, suffering from tripped out psychosis. Doses, seeing clouds drip like ET, sun rays touch fingertips, reflect kiss off your cheek like lips, repeating like skips, peeling the air in strips, pattern swirl, walls seem to breathe, mixed up senses that I can't perceive. All I see is sounds, I'm hearing what smells, I'm craving hallucinations like hell. Enter the realm where there's talking gazelles, speaking metaphysic, I'm feeling depressed. There's wearing hard nose puts his hand on my chest and says, breathe out. Breathe out. The grip of the truth. Breathe out. Breathe out. The grip of the truth. Breathe out. Breathe out. The grip of the truth. Breathe out. Breathe out. All I did was have a piece of a shroom. My mind going zoom as I spin with this room. Forks run with spoons, knives guilty for murders they committed. Should I be committed to a mental ward? Straight jacket fitted. Frog walks out the wall, talking with it. I'm overstanding every word said in my head. Then here comes death, smelling like dead, telling me to follow him flying on fog. On his death log, he checks off God. Looking into his hood darkness, all I see, and darkness is all around me. Light asks me to take a west sound beat, then introduce me to speed of thought, and she told me by being told man man knows not. Carrying on, swinging like Barry Bonds. The flower bouquet from whence he's married yawns. Rapper's force was a corpse. Power and force, divorced of course. Power is an illusion, took the bigger loss. My last 4 blinks felt like ice rinks. Came to my senses looking down sinks. After that, I didn't know what to think, so I just put the rest of shrooms into my drink. The trip is a trip.
Islam was peace and love to all Moors, everywhere, wherever you're at. Peace and love to all. Peace and love to all. So, first of all, let's say our ashes for all the ancestors right now. I'm going to put it on the record yet again, because Roots K dropped it. No longer mystified when I lift my eyes. I'm going to put it on the record again. So there's no confusion. We are not these provocateurs. Certain Moors' purpose is to be themselves. That's their purpose. But in order to be yourself, you have to know yourself. And people need to know still, because our people are out there. They don't know about anything because they abandoned their prophet and the teachings that he brought to them for their salvation. They abandoned, cast it away like garbage. Follow all this other stuff, but not realize that he brought you your salvation. Gave you the good plate, brought out the silverware and everything. Now, we were talking with some of the Moors on the weekend about Dr. Malachi York L. So we just want to put it on the record that we're not about the man. But if you can get your hand on some of his stuff, make sure you go read some of his stuff too. Don't think that, you know, because of certain stuff. Like his things are rare right now. So they got the author out of circulation. Now these people who are after him, they were either playing hoard this, like this is just some only Nuwapians can have jurisdiction over this or whatever, not just giving people the info. Or they saw it as a money-making whatever and they got rid of whatever they had after everything went down. And then whoever has whatever they have right now, that's what you got. However you get it, but there's things that, like I was talking with Grand Chief Nature earlier today, about how there's classes from early. There's classes from 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, up to maybe like 2010 that's not on YouTube. I don't care how many millions of stuff is up there. They don't have certain things up there. And those classes murder anything that anybody's putting out right now. Right? Sit downs with Nature and Taj, Raz, Shafiq, Samir, like crazy. Sit downs that is recorded, but that's not on YouTube. All the YouTube people think you learn something. There's some serious ones out there. You have no idea. We're going to give you an idea through Noble Drew Ali. So you can see that the Moors been on this since the 1900s, as far as in America and not being Negro black color. We're not talking about all the other Moors out there who already know that they're Moors. This means the ones here playing around. Right? This is the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, or the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by noble prophet Drew Ali. By the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Now, who wouldn't want that? First thing you're reading, you wouldn't want that? You're arguing about this? You're going to argue about that because he said Allah or whatever? You're an idiot. Chapter 4. For all the people playing, why Nipsey? Why did it have to be? He was gonna do the documentary, and then he had the store, and he had his own masters, and he was the man, and Jay-Z liked him, and this guy liked him, and everybody has something to say. Everybody's playing around. Because I bet you he's up there right now slapping all you people from the soul plane. Why are you mourning? Let me tell you, mourn me. How about you do what I said to do when they take me out? Oh, nobody. Where you guys at? All the supporters. All the bought the mixtape for $100. People. All you guys. Remember when he was on that guy? Remember that guy? There's a porno guy, a Mac Daddy porno guy that used to degrade Asiatic women. He put out some documentaries called something about color. Look up color in the law dictionary. Something colors or something like that. And then he did an interview with a guy. And they're talking about some herbalist guy, and he went to court or something like that, and he beat the case because he cured AIDS or whatever. And then they were saying like, yeah, he mysteriously died and stuff like that. And then certain other people are saying, yeah, you know, what if, you know, stuff happens? You say, hey, man, people were telling me that, yo, man, watch out and stuff like that because, yo, you know what they did to this guy? Who's those people that's messaging him? Who knows what's up? And they're trying to tell him, hey, shut the hell up with that stuff, huh? You don't see what they did already? Or you don't see what they did already? Okay. All right. Broadcasting stuff? What are you broadcasting? You hear Mother of the Matrix, her stuff was on lockdown, copywritten and stuff like that in the 80s. When stuff coming, movies coming out or whatever. 80s, she had her stuff on lockdown. So he's sitting at the thing and he's telling him, hey man, something happens. I hope you guys are gonna ride for me and stuff like that because, you know, it's pretty much inevitable. It's pretty much gonna happen. So just make sure you're riding. And then hire Tubman. You know what I mean? On the track up north, you know, we're getting out of slavery or whatever like that. Halfway, a man said, oh, you know what, I can't do this, I'm going back or whatever. Click, click, click. You're going back where? There's no going back. Right here, we're drawing the line. There's no going back anywhere. Oh, so I'm gonna put my stuff on the line and put out the documentary. So you already know what's gonna go down. So you better be riding with me. Anybody riding? Not riding. So why you left? Do what you supposed. Oh yeah. Let's put it in context. Death and burial of Elizabeth. Matheno's lessons. The ministry of death. The ministry of death. Oh. The ministry of death. When John was 12 years old, his mother died. The neighbors laid her body in a tomb among her kindred in the Hebron burying ground and near the Zacharias tomb. And John was deeply grieved. He wept. Matheno said, it is not well to weep because of death. First lesson. The first lesson is that it is not well to weep because of death. So remember how he said 42 laws of Ma'at? Okay, for 43, thou shalt not weep because of play the Egyptian stuff. Well, the Moors are back, so we're going to put all the stuff back on the stuff now. You stop playing around. It's really about riding with your boy. That's not my boy. I don't even know. Like, this is how I know. I'm listening to nothing of his. I never heard anything. Like, I don't know. I just found out that, hold on a second. So you guys getting hyped, but he's Eritrean. He has nationality. You guys playing around. How come he's Eritrean? How come he knows about over there, but he's over here doing stuff? Oh yeah, because he's part over here too. So he knows about nationality. He knows about do for your own and all that stuff. It is not well to weep because of death. It is not well to do that. Take that in. Take that in as you're mourning right now. that it is not well to weep. I'll tell you why, but just take that in. Now, you know, we get it. You get me wrong and stuff like that. People are mad throwing stuff. Don't get mad. You get it. Sure. Release the stuff. But make sure after you release all the stuff. Like just like when that one night when you had too much to drink and the next day made you say you're not drinking ever again. All right. So get it all out. But make sure when you stop, you already know the lesson right now. So then if you continue on that, then now it's on you now. Whatever you get, whatever the judgment is, for you weeping because of death, that's all on you, not on who died, not on who was at the funeral, not on who at the wake, who didn't show up and why didn't they show up and all that type of stuff. None of that. All on you. You're going to have to deal with that. And remember, it's not what I'm saying. This is what Matheno's saying. Because there has to be a reason why you shouldn't weep. There has to be a repercussion for violating it. Death is no enemy of man. So that's the next lesson. Everybody's mad. Who's mad? Oh, yeah, death. Why just do that or whatever? He was so young and all that stuff. Death is not an enemy. Why are you looking at it as an enemy? Who taught you that it's an enemy? Where you learn that from? You're a supreme being and all that stuff. You're God of the universe and all of that. What you mean? What are you talking about? I thought we're the God. We're Allah and man and stuff like that. What do you mean? Death is the enemy of man. It is a friend who, when the work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe a mother's worth. No language. There is no language that can describe the worth of mother. Islam to all the mothers. Peace and love. No worth could be described. And yours, remember, no language can describe a mother's worth. And yours, not and John's, and yours. Matheno's talking to you. So you could really embrace the teachings that are being presented. That it's set up that Matheno's talking to you. Just go through the Quran. Most times it says yours. You're thinking it's talking about somebody there. No, it's talking about you. You're the 7 in the circle on the cover of the stuff. Remember, he's 12 learning this. How old are you right now? You just getting this lesson right now? So you're just getting the lesson right now. This is the perspective that you have to look at it. That's the only way you're gonna make it through. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Yeah. The ego is a hell of a drug. Make you cry for no reason and stuff like that. Ego is crazy. But don't get caught up. Don't need to get caught up. This is about realizing the full perspective. No language can describe a mother's worth, and yours was tried and true. But she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best. The cause of death are always. Look up always in a dictionary, unabridged preferably. Always. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here. What are you talking about? What do you mean we're solving problems there? There where? Where's there? What are you talking about? Remember, this is 1920s. Still today, we give people these lessons and they don't get it. You are physical and metaphysical. Have to embrace that side. You have to embrace death. It's not an enemy. Don't worry about the dark cloak with the sickle and all that stuff. It's not an enemy. Just like your boy who has the toolie. And you know he always has the toolie on him. But that's your boy. Yeah. It is what it is. But that's your boy. You ain't got no issues. That you even have to worry about the sickle and the dark cloak and the eyes through the darkness of stuff, and you should be asking what's the next task? Where's there now that I gotta go to and figure out some wherever there is. Let's go there. Let's get it done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here. And one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. One is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. Because those helped are the ones that help themselves. That's why it's a must. That's why it's a must that you have to know who you are. Because Because you already know problems are meant to be overcome. They're not there to be there forever. They're there to be overcome. Get through a problem. That's the motivation. And guarantee there was a place where you had to be in order to solve that problem. Spiritually, mentally, physically, you had to be in a particular place. Things had to line up a certain way for you to get out of the problem. That if you would have just lined it up from however long ago, you would have been out of the problem already. But in this instance, sometimes it can't be done here. You know, it is selfishness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. It is selfishness, ego. It is the ego that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. Right? Selfishness is not really a good thing. You don't want to be that. Because again, every action has repercussions. And you don't want to get the other side of selfishness. Then let your mother rest in peace. So after you know about it is not well to weep as death, death is no enemy of man, the calls of death are always for the best. It is selfishness to call again to earth departed souls. If you know all of that, then you know, just let Nipsey rest in peace. But just let her noble life be strengthened and inspiration unto you. So don't cry on all the BS. Let the noble life that he lived, that you know that he lived because he demonstrated that. He wasn't playing around like half these other people. You know, one of the most quote-unquote important cases in quote-unquote black history or whatever is Dr. Sebi's case. He already told everybody how he beat him. Not like he didn't say what he put on the record for them to say, yo, what we gonna say, man? Man used the law. He didn't use no emotions. He didn't use any emotions. Think he wasn't on the science? Why is he going in there by himself in propria persona? He didn't have no lawyer to go fight these people who's telling him that he can't cure stuff. You're just dumb. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. So as soon as death happens and you go into crisis mode, immediately turn on. Hold on a second. This crisis means that I have work to do now. This crisis doesn't mean start going into the stuff that you know that usually we go in there. Because death is not no enemy. Death happened to get you straight, get you in check. You've been slacking. Because obviously he did his work. He's out of here. Yeah, he'll be here. Served his purpose. Mad. He served his purpose. Come back and all that stuff. What do you mean? Who's coming back to this BS? You really coming back to this BS? Please. These people knew they could walk through a wormhole and be in a different existence, not having to do whatever BS that they were dealing with here. They're gone. So stop playing. We stay doing work. And Moors have their own stuff that they're dealing with. On this plane. That they just got to deal with. That they just have to deal with. They're still Moors though. They're still doing something for the uplifting of fallen humanity. And if you're not riding, then what's really the point of repping? If you're not gonna ride now, because we already told you that he had nationality, or he was very well acquainted with nationality. Because he's part Eritrean, so he knows family and all that stuff. You don't have to get taught that. He knows that. Stop playing. And the whole reason that I was even talking to Grand Sheik Nature today is because we get a message, we get some group text from consular court people about donate finance to them. Help them with some BS for somebody to travel somewhere to go do something. The hell do you mean? Donate to you. Now, from the classes that I saw, you already put lien on birth certificate and lien on SIN number and all that stuff. So you should have a bottomless account that you could go to go get some finance, make some bond or something like that, because you guys lean on straw man and all that stuff. So you already know that you can go make a bond and then use that bond to bond out whoever. Like the Moor said last week, you go to Brother Obashango L, and he got a process that he's not just telling you about some papers or whatever. He went through the process. So he's qualified to talk on it. You ain't got no issues with them. He's still a Moor, he's still L and all that. They're not telling him he's sovereign citizen and he's doing sovereign citizen whatever. So okay, so if you want to play that you lean birth certificates and stuff like that, then that means you got bottomless account. What you need finance from somebody, or did you not do that, or were you playing around or whatever? So not everybody out here is incompetent. Not everyone out here is incompetent. So you know, as Moors who are in a certain mind space, we're linking each other like, hey, you got this thing about whatever. Hey, how come you even know that? Where did this come from? I don't know. I just seen the message and all these different people on it. Now remember too, when they started up their stuff, they were talking about, when they started up the stuff, they were talking about how they did the 30 extractions or whatever of people and stuff like that. So if you did the 30 extractions, then what do you need people for if you already did the 30 extractions of stuff? If people are playing around with you, don't let them play around with you. They make you think about, oh, now they want to do some Moorish unity of whatever. Or now you want to do Moorish unity? How come now? How come all of a sudden people want to do Moorish unity all of a sudden? They were on some Moorish unity when they were fleecing people and switching stuff and using other people's stuff and saying it's theirs and pretending that their people are the officials of some whatever. Now they're a judge and they don't even have a gavel or nothing like that. And these people are crazy. Now they're saying that they want something. These people play games with you. Oh yeah, and then we're doing class today because no class tomorrow. We got a little meeting to deal with. So we're here today. Now my good sister, who just lost her mother, went to a store out here called The Bay, the B-A-Y for Hudson's Bay, right? And in The Bay, they have the curiously Moorish cocoa dusted truffles. Now, she's one of the people that when she found out about us being Moors and all that stuff or whatever, you know, because she's into the holistics, you know, she's, female Dr. Sabi or whatever, right? She's a student of all those different Layla Africa, you know, Jewel Pukram, you know, she Queen of Fua, like she's a student of these people, right? She's walking through the store, she sees this thing, bam, takes a picture of it or whatever, sends it to me, we're laughing, right? We're cracking up because, you know, our people really don't know, look at this stuff, it's in the store in their face. Some chocolates. And then they even gave you the other Moorish spelling, which would be new to some people, Moorish spelled like that. So that's just the reminder. You know, we're not Johnny come latelys. Everybody knows about us. Problem is, our people don't know about themselves, so they suffer, and they always get played. Nobody else. So, since we're talking about Moorish, so today I get a call. You'll come to the whatever. So I'm going. Go to this spot. There's a bucket upside down, and people saying that they caught something. They caught something. They caught something or whatever. Something running around. Now, from, let's see, from maybe about 2002 or something like that. About 2002. Yeah, somewhere around there. In 2002, there was I think it was an article. There was an article in this like independent magazine talking about April Fool's Day and about the fall of the Muslims and all this. Right now, I remember this because at this slave that I was at, they tried to pull one of those on a Muslim dude on an April Fool's Day, and he schooled them like, "Hey man, we don't play those type of stuff or whatever like that. We're Muslim and all that. April Fools come from the, you know what I mean?" So soon as I see the bucket on the ground or whatever, I'm like, "Oh yeah, these guys trying to pull something." I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna call somebody else. Like, no, you can do it. I'm like, hold on a second, I'm gonna call somebody else, right? So I call somebody else, and then I'm gone. I'll go do whatever. So later on in the day or whatever, there's somebody else that I called telling me, "Man, these people had me holding this bucket or whatever." These people had me holding this bucket, and nothing's under there. I was like, "Oh my gosh, we got it." So when I saw them play, and then, you know, it was the Moor and the Christian, right? The Asiatic and the European, right? Only thing the European got, right? The European got. So it brought me to just put it on the record again that people talk about it, you know, but you don't really accept certain stuff because, you know, the Moors are saying it. So whatever. So we're gonna go to this one here. Mizra Nurul Hassan. Why you should not celebrate April Fool. Read the following. The fall of Granada, Spain, and 1st of April, April Fool. In Spain, after centuries of Muslim rule, the Moors were overwhelmed by the Christian army. However, the Moors were fortified in their homes. The Christian armies wanted to get rid of the Muslims somehow. They told the Moors that they could leave their homes safely and could take only the necessary things from their homes. They were told they could sail away in the ships anchored at the quayside. The Muslims did wonder if this ploy was a trick. The Muslims were requested to go to the quayside to check the ships. They did so and were convinced. They then made preparations to leave. The next day, 1st of April, they took their essential belongings, walked towards the quayside. The Christians looted their homes and then set fire to them. Before the Muslims got to the ships, the Christians had set fire to the ships as well. The Christians then attacked the Muslims and killed them all, men, women, and children. They then celebrated this carnage. This then became the ritual that we celebrated every year and that has been carried on until this day, not only in Spain, but in other countries too. The Muslims celebrate 1st of April as well as playing jokes on others on this day through sheer ignorance of the story. We should bring out the facts of the story to all in order to stop the practice of celebrating this bloody and shameful episode. The fall of Granada, Spain. April Fool's Day. Now, people have a lot of BS to say about the Moorish Empire. So I figure we take a sec and step back. Step back. Take a step back. And we bring in one of the master teachers and the founder of the Journal of the Moorish Paradigm, Brother Hakeem Bey. Preface. Islam Wars. In this issue, we show the intimate connection between Africa and the Americas. We show that the key unifying link between Africa and America were the Mande-speaking people who built kingdoms on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. We also show that the government of the Moorish Empire in the time of Sidi Muhammad, who entered into the Moroccan Treaty of 1787 with America, was run and controlled by the same Mande Sudanic Moors. This issue goes a long way in answering many questions regarding our Aboriginal heritage as well as our Moorish heritage. Right? Okay. The connection between Africa and the Americas. From ancient times, the dark-skinned, woolly-haired Moors of the Mande descent have existed on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean. We as a people can claim Aboriginal descent in both Africa and the Americas. The reason we can claim both is because there was a constant communication and flow of people, ideas, goods, etc. between Africa and the Americas. These were just two halves of the same whole. That whole was known as dominions of Amexem, according to Noble Drew Ali. Thus, we should say that we are the Aboriginal or native to the dominions of Amexem, which includes the Americas, Africas, and parts of Europe. The dominions of Amexem was composed of a series of kingdoms in the Americas, Africa, and Europe, united socially, economically, via trade, and later unified politically under the Moorish Empire. In all of this, the people of the Mande, Mandinka, Mandingo descent have played the major role. The kingdoms formed by the dark-skinned Moors in the Americas, Africa, and Europe was united by common social customs, such as divine kinship, a religion with specialized priesthoods and cults, common mercantile and textile craft, architecture, agricultural food production, and many other common social customs. The kingdoms of the cultured Moors in the Americas, Africa, and Europe had strong centralized political systems, which was supported and maintained by a strong agricultural base and heavy trade with other kingdoms. If you look at the kingdoms in the Sudan in Africa and the kingdoms of the Olmecs, Mayas, and Peruvian and mound builder civilizations in the Americas, it becomes clearly evident that they were of the same type and of founded by the same people. In fact, to understand the Olmec and mound builder civilizations, one should study the Sudanese kingdoms, especially the Mande kingdoms. Look at the evidence of these political, cultural, and economic connections between the Americas, Africa, and Europe. Now then, this is Hakim Bey, Journal of the Moorish Paradigm. And this goes back again to there was a time when there was not a cesspool of scholars like you have today. There was few real scholars, and everybody went to them. You didn't have people go sit at the feet of the scholar, and then 2 weeks later, they got some sash and talking about they're the Sultan of the Moorish whatever. Not after 2 weeks. No way. No way. You're a general of something after 6 months. No way. So Hakim Bey was one of those master teachers that when we were getting into this information seriously, people who brought us in gave us these reference points. Right? Like the whole idea of the Moorish Empire is so vast that he was able to compress the lots of reference points in this little pamphlet, 30 pages. History of African Civilization by E. Jefferson Murphy, page 93. The Sudanic Empire was thus composed of several states under the suzerainty of a strong conquering state. The vassal kings, or appointed governors in some cases, were required to pay tribute to the emperor, usually a portion of the state's taxes. Other obligations, including road maintenance and provision of troops for the emperor's army and labor for special projects. Occasionally, vassal states provided the emperor with special goods, such as gold, copper, or gems. In return, the emperor provided protection from aggression, assistance in maintaining law and order, guarantees of trading rights, and safe passage for goods. Generally, Sudanic imperial systems did not require that conquered states accept the language and culture-specific practices of the ruling state. The empires were thus enforced confederations. Thus, when one studies the Iroquois Confederacy and the Articles of Confederation, which united the English colonies, you will now understand that our ancestors perfected these systems long ago. We have always determined our own destiny without the assistance of Europeans. Thus, history shows that we are well qualified and have every right to exercise self-determination in this day and time. Let us look at the Mande people specifically and the political, social, and economic systems of the kingdoms that they formed. Not only are the kingdoms formed by the Mande an excellent example of Sudanic kingdoms, but also a good model of the kingdoms in pre-Columbian America. It was the Mande people who, as we shall see later, developed the Olmec kingdoms and maintained the communication and trading relationships between our kingdoms in Africa and the Americas. It was also these Mande-speaking people who played the main role in the creation of the later Moorish Empire, as we shall see later. Most of our people who are aboriginal here are descendant of the Mande-speaking and related people who from ancient times inhabited both Africa and the Americas. Who from ancient times inhabited both the Mande-speaking people who built the kingdoms in the Sudan and the Americas are a mixture of those who originally inhabited the Sahara prior to cataclysms of 1500 BC, the Proto-Mande, and the Amalekite Confederacy, Canaanite, Moabite, etc. Amalekite, A-M-A-L-E-K-I-T-E, Amalekite Confederacy, Canaanite, Moabite, etc., who joined them after the cataclysms of 1500 BC. Trade plays a key role in the formation and maintenance of nations and kingdoms. The Mande were especially skilled in trade, and in this age of global economics, we can learn much that we can apply now from the far-flung trade of the Mande. This trade across the Sahara became known as the Golden Trade of the Moors. This trade across the Sahara became known as the Golden Trade of the Moors, not the Golden Trade of the Mande-speaking people, not the Golden Trade of the Sudanese or the Golden Trade of the Africans, the Golden Trade of the Moors. Not the Golden Trade of the Negroes. The Golden Trade of the Moors. The Golden Trade of the Moors. These trading abilities were also instrumental in establishing and maintaining the contacts between Africa and the Americas, specifically the Sudan and Mexico. You can look up Quetzalcoatl conical hat. Quetzalcoatl, Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl wearing a fez, conical hat. Even the fez, the national headdress of the Moors, was well known in Mesoamerica and had the same royal and sacred connotations as it did in Africa. Right is a picture of Quetzalcoatl with the pointed fez standing not next to the pyramid, but on top the pyramid, with the shepherd crook of the Amalekites. Quote, the conical hat fez representing royalty or high dignity in Mexico among the Hostecans, Huastecans, Huastecans, and elsewhere, and in Aztec known as Copilli, Copilli, is linguistically identical with the quote-unquote hat worn in Africa, deriving from Arabic Gifara or Gufara. Gufara. The Arabic conical hat, fez, Qub, Qub, and Gifara, associated with the Magi, is at the base of all the hat names in the Sudan, and apparently was originally restricted to the kingly power. The priestly power with which the conical hat was originally associated received for its insignia an Arabic mitrak, the rattle, which through the homonym, which the Arabic means gourd, and religious wisdom, was made from the gourd. Africa and the Discovery of America, Leo Weiner. Africa and the Discovery of America, Leo Weiner. The conical fez, in fact, the conical fez and the fact that many of the words found in this hemisphere contain ancient forms of Arabic is the reason the Moors refer to the Americas as Old Morocco. Notice also the shepherd crook in his hand, and refer back to issue 5 where we discussed the Hyksos, Amalekites, and Canaanite migrations. Also refer back to issue number 3 and the discussion of the fez. Many books try to say that Quetzalcoatl was referred to as being white by the Mexican, but it is obvious from the picture above that he was not quote-unquote white. White referring to the white cotton garments worn by the Mande priests, the Mandingo saints and holy men. White cotton represented purity and was considered sacred. The Moorish Empire. I will cover the detailed history of Morocco and the early Moorish Empire in detail in subsequent issues. For now, I would like to fast forward to a Moorish emperor by the name of Muley Ismail in order to show that the Moorish Empire at the time of the Moroccan treaties was run by the Mande Sudanese and thus has a direct bearing on us, the Mande Sudanese descendants of the Moorish Empire. First, let me mention that in 1582, the ruler of the Western Sudan was invited to recognize the supremacy of Morocco. The ruler of the Western Sudan Kingdom of Songhai was Ishak, I-S''Hak. When his dynasty was established in the 13th century, it initially recognized the authority of the Abbasid Caliphate of Egypt. But Egypt was far off, and the Abbasid Caliphate had been wiped out. Thus, Timbuktu was captured by Morocco. But Morocco did not take Kangoo across the Niger River. Morocco did, however, receive submissions all the way to Kano, Nigeria, and the whole of the eastern Sudan became part of the Moorish Empire. Included in this empire, the Moorish Empire, was also North, South, and Central America, including the Caribbean. In 1668, Sultan Rashid II, or Muli Arshid, whom the English called the Great Tafelata, of the present dynasty ruling in Morocco, known as the Filali or Hilali Sharifs. The Filali Sharifs were already established in Fez for over 20 years prior. From 1668 marks the mastery of the Filali Sharifs over the Moorish Empire. The Filalis were held in great veneration by the people of Morocco. Their family was even offered the throne of Granada at one time. During Sultan Rashid's rule, he consolidated the Moorish Empire. Quote, Budget Meeking, The Moorish Empire, page 139. The history of this remarkable man and his long reign of 55 years calls for special treatment, not only on account of the exceptional wealth of material, but particularly on account of the foreign relations producing that wealth. During this period, as never before or since, we are brought face to face with the internal workings of the Moorish court. In 1672, Sultan Rashid II was succeeded by Muli Ismail, who was his brother. Muli Ismail is known to native Moroccan historians as Prince of the Faithful, the overcoming in Allah, father of the conqueror, my Lord Muli Ismail, son of the noble Sharif. Muli Ismail made the city of Mekines his headquarters. Muli Ismail is sometimes portrayed as a tyrant, but this label must be taken with a grain of salt due to the fact that his report usually came from Christian slaves and captives. However, Muli Ismail was no joke. Morocco had been unruly, and it was necessary for a strong leader to come in order to restore control. Quote, one can hardly imagine the security, abundance, and calm which at this time reigned in the whole country. Page 140, Budget Meekin, The Moorish Empire. Commenting on what took place after Muli Ismail's death, Captain John Brathwaite, who accompanied England's Consular General John Russell Esquire to Morocco, says, Muli Ismail's death was proclaimed, and Basha Epsail, a chief Negro with the Negroes of the court and guards, seated Muli Hamet upon the throne of his father and adored him and declared him king. The city of Mekines is immediately commanded by the palace, where all the cannons are kept, and for fear of being plundered by the blacks, was obliged readily to submit. The Negroes at present are the grand cavaliers of this part of Barbary. To these the emperor entrusts his riches, his person, and his women. The power of these people were at first introduced by the late Emperor Muli Ishmael, whose mother was a Negro, and he himself, coming out of the south, could not trust his northern subjects. Note, Sidi Muhammad bin Abd Allah is the emperor who signed the Moroccan Treaty of 1787 between Morocco and America. He was the grandson of Muli Ishmael. Thus we can see that not only did the Moroccan Treaty of 1787 apply to us, but the government which signed that treaty and the other treaties were controlled and run by us, the dark-skinned, woolly-haired Moors of Sudan, Mande descent. During Muli Ishmael's time and after, when, as mentioned earlier, the Europeans first came into contact with the internal workings of the Moorish court, the government of Morocco, as a Negro government by Captain Brathwaite. Again, as pertaining to the treaties and whether so-called black people were considered as subjects of the Emperor of Morocco, below is another quote in which he delineates the various peoples considered to be subjects of the Emperor of Morocco. And lastly, the Negroes who since the late Muli Ishmael obtaining the government of his country have made the greatest figure in it. They fix different sorts of people, make up the subjects of the Emperor of Morocco, and among them there are various sorts of complexions, from very fair to very black. Now again, this is between 1993 and 2007, copyright. 93 and 2007. Now this is how Moors were laying it down then. To have some of us where we are today. It's these places that we were at. Journal of the Moorish Paradigm, Moors Order of the Round Table. The reason why the Moors in southern United States were brainwashed out of our Moorish nationality and into believing that we are the descendants of slaves purchased in Africa was in order for southern European plantation owners to, 1, get around the Moroccan treaties with America and England, which would not allow them to enslave Moors. 2, take our land in the south. 3, kidnap and enslave free Moors in the slave states under the Fugitive Slave Law Acts. 4, take us from under the treaties signed by America, which said that the original inhabitants of the land shall be admitted into the Union as soon as possible, and in the meantime, they were to be protected in their right to property, persons, and way of life. Louisiana Purchase Treaty with Spain for Florida, 1819. Because our Moorish ancestors assisted America in their bid for independence, and we were the first to recognize her independence, America is obliged to assist us in our bid for independence and self-determination. In this day and time, we cannot continue on as we are. Speech of His Excellency, Mati Jorio. Speech of His Excellency, Mati Jorio, Jorio, Ambassador of Morocco at the Moorish Centennial celebration honoring Noble Drew Ali, January 11th, 1986, the Howard Inn, Washington, D.C. It is a privilege for me and for the other staff members of the Embassy of Morocco to attend this, the Noble Drew Ali Centennial Tribute Dinner. Please let me take this opportunity to express to you our collective appreciation for your kind invitation and my personal appreciation for having been chosen to receive the Ambassador of the Faith Award. I am greatly honored. It is also a pleasure for us to be in the company of such distinguished guests as those here tonight and to be taking part in such a joyous celebration. We are happy to bring you all greetings from His Majesty King Hassan II and the people of Morocco. By now, I have been made well aware of your devotion to strengthening the ties linking the Moorish American community to Morocco. Morocco, for its part, welcomes your interests and your work for a better understanding between us. I would like you to know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Your initiative is to be both respected and encouraged. As to us, we in turn have every intention of doing all possible to make our relationship a vibrant and special one. But for that goal to be met, we must also look to the future. We cannot limit ourselves to the considering just that historical aspects of our relationship, thereby believing that good relations between us are a matter of fate. Rather, we should understand that our cooperation to be a living entity, able to grow and open the future. It is here that we can begin to recognize the importance of our children's role. Whatever advances we make, it is our children who will have to follow through. Morocco is awaiting your proposals. We are pleased and proud to have the Moorish community as one of the bridges between Morocco and the United States as a new voice in the network of our long-standing relationship. Thank you. Courtesy of Ambassador of something. Can't read that. Text of speech by the Moroccan ambassador at Noble Drew Ali Centennial Celebration, 1986. 1986. So we have to trust that they're familiar and they know about us, the Moors. They know about our history. They know about our culture. They know about our foremothers and forefathers. We know this. They know this. Matter of fact, so much they know. Let me just show you another one. That's how much they know. Islam to the Moors that study. Here they go. Oh, no, it's here. One sec, Moors. Show you how real they take it. Why? If you don't ride for your stuff, Mars, you won't have anything. I never listened to this yet, so excuse anything, but I never.
Pope Francis visited the Mohammed VI Institute, which trains imams, preachers, and instructors. It's a training center sponsored by the current King of Morocco that promotes a true knowledge and study of Islam. The Pope was honorably received in this school that trains each year around 150 imams, 100 instructors, and students from all over the world. More than 1,200 imams and 900 instructors have been trained here. The Pope heard the testimonies of two students, a woman from Nigeria and a man from France. They explained the kind of training they received in this institute to Pope Francis.
I will work to deter religious extremism by transmitting the knowledge and experiences I have acquired in order to influence tolerance, love, and peaceful coexistence between Muslims, Christians, and other people of different faiths in my community.
Je souhaite mettre en pratique et transmettre ces
I
connaissances.
wish to put into practice and transmit this knowledge, and above all, this spirit of peace, love, fraternity, and tolerance. They concluded this visit with a beautiful song that combines the best of several traditions.
Everybody knows, and don't forget.
Sebi going to court and proving that he cured AIDS.
Absolutely.
Come on, why we don't know about that?
Absolutely.
And you know,
and he just died mysteriously down there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you know how they play.
Oh yeah.
You know, niggas was tweeting me, Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't pray, ride for me.
Me, Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't pray, ride for me.
Yeah, that's it. Give me Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't
give me Hustle, be careful, man. Your plane gonna go down. I say, niggas better ride for me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't pray, ride for me.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you tell him, huh? Hidden Colors guy. I hope you tell him Hidden Colors guy. I hope you tell him ride for the guy with a nationality. I hope you tell him. Salam to all the Moors. Let's see, peace and love. Oh, let me just check see if there's any emails up in there. Don't forget morishdirectory.com. Don't forget nomoredaily.com. Don't forget tomorrow night, MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Blog Talk Radio. Peace and love to all the Moors, everywhere you're at. You already know how it goes, but that's why we got our prophet to give us certain lessons, so we don't have to get trapped. So peace and love to all. Islam to the chat Moors. Islam to all the Moors everywhere that they're at. And don't forget, no calling to earth departed souls. That's selfish. Don't be selfish. Let go of the ego. Let them rest in peace. And you carry on the works, but greater. You carry on the works, but greater. Islam was